Hello, everyone. Today we are going to be learning a little bit about modern cartography. That's going to be a little bit of a fancy word to you, cartography, but hopefully you can kind of figure out the meaning to this. By the way, if you hear a loud noise in the background, I'm in the printer room, so the printer might go off. So don't stress out about that. I believe I'm louder than the printer, so you shouldn't have any trouble anyway. So let's talk about cartography first. So the word cartography itself, if you remember, means the process of map making. So if you are making a map, you are considered a cartographer, right? So cartographers are people who make maps, and cartography is just the idea of map making in general. So when we talk about modern cartography, we're talking about cartography and map making in the 21st century, which is kind of where we're at right now. So up until this point, we might have looked at some other geographic tools, or maybe we're used to other geographic tools like globes and maps. We even did a little battle, right? Globes versus maps. Globes are good for some reasons. Maps are good for some reasons. We know that the globe has a more accurate view of what the Earth actually looks like. Well, we know that maps are allow us to zoom in a little bit further. We can kind of get into cities and different parts of the world at a greater zoomed in scope. Or I could even stretch out the whole world and see it at once, whereas a globe, I would have to turn it in order to see the whole world. So these are all great tools to use, but obviously in our day and age, we don't use a whole lot of paper maps anymore. We don't use the globe because it's not super portable. So we don't use a lot of these tools as much as we use modern cartography. So the whole idea of cartography in the first place, and cartographers, they would sit down and they would design maps, and they would take forever. So these truly good maps take a long time and a lot of tiring process to make sure that all the features are right, to make sure the scale is right, and to make sure that the map is actually going to be useful. So now, as we move into modern cartography, we're going to be able to create maps that have a lot more of a purpose in our world in the 21st century. So the biggest way that they're using modern cartography these days is with computer assisted mapping. And some of these tools you will be completely familiar with. If you think about GPS and even like your Snapchat location and Google Earth and Google Maps and the apps on your phone that take you from point A to point B when you're driving, these are all versions of computer assisted mapping or modern cartography. So with modern cartography there and computer system mapping, there's a lot of benefits. There's easy storage, right? I can store pretty much unlimited data on a computer, whereas if you have big bulky paper maps or globes, they're going to take up a lot of space. They're more detailed. I can zoom in. I can get better pictures. I can get real life pictures instead of drawing. They're more detailed, right? They're easy to organize. I can store different maps in certain places. I can search for things, so it's easy to organize. And there's just different ways that you can represent the information. All of those tools I told you at the beginning are different types of maps that they created with computers. So there's a lot of different ways to store information and organize information and also just present information to the map reader. So if you were looking at these two maps here, map A versus map B, I want you to take a second just to look at those, and I want you to think about what is the major differences between map A and map B. I just want you to list a couple here. What are some differences between map A and map B? All right, you might have noticed that this map looks a lot older, and if I were to move my face a little bit, hopefully I can move it, there we go. You can see that this map was designed in 1566, right? Lots like 500 years ago, and this map was just made about 10 years ago in 2010. So both maps show the world, but you can see that the world looks a little bit different here. It's like even if you look at Australia here, right, and North and South America, obviously what they thought the world looked like back in map A might not be exactly what they did in map B. So when you're looking at these maps as they've progressed over time with computers, we can see that we're starting to get a more accurate view of what the world looks like. And map B, you probably might have said in your answer that it has a lot of lines, which we should know that these lines are called latitude and longitude lines, right? So with time, maps have obviously evolved and gotten better, and with computers, they've even gotten more realistic and better, right? So as we keep continuing here, some tools that go with modern cartography. We have aerial photographs. So if you are that bird's eye view, you're looking down from a plane, down, up from above, and you're taking a picture from the down angle. So pretend if you're in a plane or a helicopter and looking down, those are some aerial photographs that you can use in modern cartography. Satellite imaging, that's when you literally have a satellite that goes outside of the Earth and it looks at the Earth from space, right? So those are satellite images. We've got 3D mapping, which is going to be mostly like Google Earth, where I can actually physically spin a globe on a computer. I can zoom in on certain parts. I can even drop a person onto a street on Google Earth and figure out where we're at. I guess, like we talked about, it can store a lot of data. We can have a lot of things that we can program into computers that we wouldn't be able to put all on just a paper map or a globe. And then interactive mapping, where actual map readers and map users can look through and they can actually add different points or look for restaurants or look for locations. And we can actually interact with the map itself, which we weren't able to do before we had computer assisted mapping. So kind of it all put together. These are called geographic information systems. Geographic information systems is a way of using computer mapping and kind of building different layers within it. So when I'm looking at geographic information systems, I should be able to look at one place, but I should be able to find out a bunch of types of information about it. I might have a map that has a layer of climate and population and physical features, and I can look at all of these different layers and switch between all of my different views to learn more information about that specific place. So geographic information system, if I were to put this into a definition, it's a computer program that allows a person to view many layers of geographic information on the same map. So if you're looking at here, I just threw up a picture here, but you can see all the different colors. Each of these would be a different layer of information from the map. So I can use one single program or computer, and I can start to break down a place and learn all kinds of information through a geographic information system using those modern cartography practices and computer assisted mapping. I would say the best thing to ever be created as far as geography goes and computer assisted mapping and GIS is Google Earth. Google Earth is phenomenal. If you ever have any time to get on Google Earth, I highly recommend it. Google Earth is a program that allows you to do so many different things and look at the world in so many different ways. You can get it as the size of a globe, like you see here. You can zoom in on a specific point. Like I said, you can take a little orange person, which is usually up here somewhere, drop them on a street and see what the actual street view looks like with photographs, right? So Google Earth has all of these different layers within one program that allows people to see all parts of the world that they would have never been able to see before. So if you wanted to drop yourself right in front of the Statue of Liberty, you could do that. If you wanted to drop yourself in the world right in front of the Eiffel Tower in Paris, France, you can do that. And if you wanted to learn information about the geography, the climate, the population, different aspects of Google Earth allow you to do that. There's rulers, there's different temperature. You can learn so many different layers of Google Earth just from this one program. So modern cartography has taken off, and every year it gets better and better and better. So I just want to look at a map of Africa here with a few different layers. So the first question I want to ask you, what types of information can I find out just from using this map? So you might need to expand your screen, make it full screen, but my first question with this map is what kind of information can I find just from using this map about Africa? Okay, so you can have said quite a few things. You can learn different cities. You can look at the terrain, which is going to be mostly describing what is the land like. You could have said that. I could look at population here. So if you see metropolitan areas, that is showing how many people live in those specific areas. And I can look at the dots in the legend and figure out how many people actually live there. So my next question is, which two cities in Africa, you should have choices here, you're going to click two, which two cities in Africa have the largest population? So use that legend to help you out. Which two cities in Africa have the largest population? Well, hopefully, as you looked closely at this map, you saw that greater than 10 million people would be a dot with a circle around it right here. And there's only two of those on this map, in Cairo right here and in Lagos. So those two cities are what you should have checked for the highest population. Next question with this map. What geographic feature or what type of terrain dominates almost all of northern Africa? So using your directions here, which geographic feature or terrain dominates pretty much all of northern Africa here? All right, if you looked closely, you should have seen that desert is this orangish color, and pretty much all of northern Africa is covered by that orangish color. And if you don't know what that is actually the Sahara Desert, the largest desert in the entire world. So that is why that covers almost all of northern Africa. All right, guys, that was just some practice with geographic information systems. This map was created by computer-assisted mapping and GIS and cartography. So as maps have evolved over the future, we have continuously improved upon them. And it's pretty cool that in this day and age, you guys get to see all the experiences of all the stuff that happened before with cartography, and it's been developed over years. All right, guys, if you have any questions, hit me up, revarts@pccsd-k12.net. Type in my email and I can get back to you as soon as I can. All right, guys, have a great rest of your Monday.